Hello and welcome to the Transfers podcast powered by FootballTransfers.com, where we bring you news, insight and analysis on that most important of the least important things, football. And I'm delighted to say that we're joined on a regular Transfers episode by Steve Kay, a transfer expert and correspondent with FootballTransfers.com. Steve has had a busy summer so far, a busy year so far, because he's brought us some tremendous exclusives, including Martin Zubimendi to Arsenal and Ryans to Man City, Turkey and Noni, who Steve broke the news on those. And so hopefully he can break some more news today or give you some great transfer insight and analysis. Welcome, Steve.
It's a pleasure, mate, and it's an honour to be here. Finally, we had a bit of trouble getting here, this morning, but finally here. Looking forward to chatting, mate. Looking forward to chatting.
Yeah, Steve's pulling back the curtain to tell you all about technical difficulties, which happen to the best of us. We love some technical difficulties. we got here and we will power on. And so as always, you can find us on audio and video. This podcast is on video with Steve. And if you're on YouTube, you can become a YouTube member. Don't forget to sign up there. So, let's get cracking with the show. So the big one, you're obviously very in the loop with Arsenal transfers, as we mentioned at the top of the show. Martin Zubimendi, the big one is Viktor Gyokeres to Arsenal. Still going on, it's still happening, it still hasn't happened, I suppose. Can you give us a latest update on that?
Yes, the man with the mask, to borrow your analogy, Ronan, will he light up the Premier League and become the next Erling Haaland, or will he fall, like you said, like Timo Werner? But first of all, he's got we must got to secure the signing. But what we do know about Viktor Gyökeres is that he's really pushing hard for this move. I mean, really pushing hard, for this move. He's made it absolutely clear that his priority is Arsenal, and that's where he wants to go. And to show how determined he is, he's agreed to give up over, I think it's about 1.7 million in wages in order to push through this deal to Arsenal, which is very rare. I'm sure that's happened in the past, but I can't remember too many times something like that's happened. So he's more than keen. My information on it is that all the key parties, player, agent, Arsenal, aligned. They're all in the same direction. They want the deal to happen. As for Sporting, they're holding out. They from what we are led to believe or are hearing, it's the fee that they're asking for is around 70 to 75 million euros, and while Arsenal are known to offer around about 65 plus add-ons, so there's still that small gap. But like in the week, there seemed to be a little bit of a panic on, a few reports going out there saying that it's stalled, and we were first to come out and say that for football transfers that he hadn't stalled, and the next day or 2 days later, it was confirmed that these reports were a little bit over the top, a bit far fetched. They hadn't. So look, I mean, it's there's still, as I said, there's still a little way. There's still a small gap. I mean, you're talking €5 million, but look, talks are ongoing. There's a clear momentum. It's advancing, and I'm expecting it to be, done. I would have thought pretty soon. I'm not foreseeing any problems. Look, Gyökeres wants Arsenal want Gyökeres. Sporting obviously want to get the best possible price. But with the player willing to make these concessions, all the pieces are just starting to fit into place. And look, the deal could go through any time. There's a small discrepancy of about €5 million. So, we've got pretty close sources to the player, the agent, and they're not foreseeing any problems at all with this.
Oh, very good. And obviously the reports in Portugal were a big one coming out this week, but then you kind of debuffed that or calm things down. You had an article on Football Transfers saying that you expect it to happen in the next fortnight. So the Arsenal fans shouldn't start to get worried.
Yeah.
Maybe Sporting fans might be a bit more worried because their training obviously resumes today, Friday, as we're recording. And Duncan has said on the podcast before that Gyökeres would not return to training. He would go on strike to force the move. So that's kind of what we're waiting to see happen there. And that when he's no longer a Sporting player, when he's no longer turning up for Sporting, you can only imagine that the move to Arsenal will be the next thing to happen. That's the next kind of domino.
Well, there's no talks with any other club as well. He stated that this is the only club he wants to play for. He's told Sporting literally get the deal done. There's always that little bit of worry, I suppose, amongst fans and possibly towards at the time I thought maybe with the manager that coming out and saying, I don't want to train and starting to cause problems in the boardroom. You think, maybe they would have swung towards Sesko, but I think Berta's came in. He seems to be his guy. He's the one. He's talked Arteta around because for at least the last couple of years, it's been Benjamin Sesko, Edo and Arthur working on Benjamin Sesko. He's been their main target. But Berta's come in, strong on Gyökeres. And as we sit now, the Sesko one, there's no more talks going on and everything sort of, going towards this signing the Swede, the man in the mask.
Yeah, it seems maybe a smarter transfer for Arsenal at the moment because what we've seen from Mikel Arteta in the past is perhaps he'd like to sign these players that he could fix, these players that had maybe hadn't reached their potential and maybe had a few flaws in their game. And I think Benjamin Sesko is one of those players. He's not kind of a fully refined forward, whereas Gyökeres is older, obviously a good bit older. He has a lot more experience under his belt. He's played in England before, and I think he's more of a natural goal scorer, natural finisher, and that's probably what Arsenal need. It's maybe the difference that they see between being second and being first, or winning trophies and not winning trophies. Someone to put the ball in the net with that regularity that he can give you, and we've seen it massively in Portugal. We saw before in the Championship with Coventry, but Sesko, we haven't kind of seen it. I haven't seen it in the Bundesliga or in Europe, or even when he's playing for his national team. He can be kind of inconsistent in front of goal. Gyökeres will be super consistent, and Arsenal, with the amount of chances to create, that is something that they need, and they can rely on a number 9 to score goals week in, week out. The next player that we want to talk about is one of those maybe players that Arteta can try and fix. We heard news coming through, and you obviously had it going along as well, that it was kind of confirmed that Madueke from Chelsea to Arsenal, that is happening. And do you think he'd be a good fit there at Arsenal?
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to talk about a signing that split the fan base, I mean, this is the one. Personally, I think it's a good signing. I must admit, I've not seen too much of the player. What I've seen of him, I like what I've seen. He's just a 23-year-old. He's an English international. Arsenal have been looking for a backup to Bukayo Saka, and Arsenal have been crying out for someone to give him some kind of rest, come on in certain games, and playing cup games and that. Because he's just literally needed it, and I think for me this is the perfect guy, and I think a lot of fans are being unfair. A 23-year-old England international, as prominently, I can't see anything else but him coming in as a backup to Noni Madueke. People are talking about him as he's coming in from the left. My information, that's not the case. I mean, this is just a separate signing that Mikel Arteta will see an opportunity, and which he talks about a lot when he sees opportunities in the market. He feels that this is an opportunity in the market, although it's, people are sort of looking at the retail price, if you like, at 52 million. That's not necessarily the price that Arsenal will put, their first, fee down to Chelsea of. I mean, I'm expecting that to be around about 30 million. So when you're paying it over a few years, that it's not as deal and it's not as big an outlay as what a lot of fans are sort of coming out online. But fans probably need to understand that more. But look, I mean, I like him. I like him. If he's going to come in and play on the left, then that's. But I'll probably be saying I'll be a little bit more concerned. But as I say, to come in as a Bukayo Saka backup, to give him rest when needed, to play in FA Cup league games, maybe a few Champions League games, 30, to bring him on after 30 minutes. I really don't see what a lot of Arsenal fans are seeing. I think this is an excellent signing.
Yeah, I think his record at Chelsea, obviously look at the raw numbers, 20 goals, 9 assists in 92 games for Chelsea. It doesn't kind of jump off the page, but I suppose those aren't 92 full games for Chelsea. A lot of those were substitute appearances or cut short or he was taken off or whatever. They weren't full 90s. And we've obviously talked about this in the past where it's a goals and assists per 90 is a big stat when you're trying to bump up someone's kind of game and try and say they're better than they are. But if you look beyond the raw figures, if you do the eye test rather than the stats, I think he has the skills to be a success. And like I mentioned before with Arteta, sometimes he gets these players who are a bit raw or who have maybe some kind of room for improvement and he can bring them on. We've seen it in the past that he has developed a lot of players at Arsenal. A lot of players have kind of improved their game under him at Arsenal. And I think he can be one of those too. And I know the money being talked about is a lot of money, 55 million kind of overall with add-ons, etc. for that transfer fee. But if you look at his estimated transfer value at the moment from SciSports ETV, it's 52.3 million euros. So that is how much he's worth. So that is how much they're going to pay. But another player that maybe is worth twice as much and would cost twice as much is Rodrygo. You kind of wonder, does signing Noni Madueke, does it change things for Arsenal's interest in Rodrygo, or will we see him actually leave Real Madrid this summer? We've mentioned before on the podcast, Duncan has talked about maybe the Saudi Pro League coming in for him, but the latest that what we're hearing is that Rodrygo wants to stay in Europe. He wants to stay in Real Madrid, but I'm not sure he necessarily has a future in Real Madrid. Xabi Alonso hasn't used him a lot since coming in, just 92 minutes at the Club World Cup. I think it's sixth least minutes or sixth fewest minutes of any player that Real Madrid, outfield player that Real Madrid have brought to the Club World Cup. It's like not getting a lot of time there. Alonso was even asked about it. Is he not playing because of a transfer away? And he said the fact that he didn't play again is a game by game decision. The way things were going, we needed another player. There haven't been any decisions about the future throughout this entire championship. We haven't rotated much. So Real Madrid and Xabi Alonso were just looking to win the Club World Cup, and Xabi Alonso thought that he wasn't a player he needed necessarily to win the Club World Cup. So he didn't get games, he didn't get minutes. But does that kind of indicate he doesn't think he's a player to win the Champions League or La Liga as well? Is that's kind of what you're worrying. Does Xabi Alonso trust him? And Rodrygo wants to stay at Real Madrid. What's the point in staying at Real Madrid? He's a player that kind of wants to be in this player the world conversation with Vinicius. So is he going to leave this summer? And will that be to Arsenal? Because Liverpool obviously are in the market as well and have been discussed as possible. So do you think Rodrygo could end up at Arsenal, or does the other moves they're making at the moment, does that kind of put an end to that?
Well, I think there's definitely a concrete possibility that he could leave. That's without any shadow of a doubt. We exclusively reported that Arsenal took quite a big step forward. I mean, this was 2 weeks ago that they actually had spoken to Madrid about whether they would want to sell Real Madrid Rodrygo or not. They come out blatantly and said then 2 weeks ago that they would. We reported that, and again, it's been reported over the last few days that they are willing to sell. We was told that around about 85 to 90 million euro is what they're looking for, and they're basically leaving it in the player's hand, and really that's where we sit. You're absolutely right. I mean, what is the point? What is the point now? I mean, he didn't get much game time last season. This season, this season, certainly in pre-season, he's not got any minutes. He's sat on the bench for most of it. I mean, it seems that Alonso sort of is to me looks like he's playing a little bit of a politician here. It's very hard to believe what he says, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I was watching the game the other night, and I'm waiting for him to come on, and they're going 1 down, 2 down, 3 down. I'm sure he's going to come on now. They're bringing on player after player after player. Thought they'd been on 6 substitutes in the end, they still didn't bring him on.
You mentioned that Rodrygo might maybe 85, 90 million euro kind of player, and seeing reports from Brazil where Rodrygo is from that Real Madrid might want 100 million for him. That is kind of around the value for him these days. He's got an estimated transfer value of 98.1 million. So that's kind of down from his peak of this time last year, kind of August time last year, where it was 112.2 million. But he's still seen by world football, by Real Madrid, by everybody around the game as this is a player that could be 100 million player. And I suppose he's seen it as that by Arsenal. But do they have the outlay for him, or is that something that they can afford to spend in this market, 90 million currently?
Well, yeah. I mean, personally, a lot of people are saying that they will will have to sell someone to be able to fund this deal. From my information is that they will try and fund it. They will try and do a certain pay structure so they wouldn't have to sell. That remains to be seen. But there's been ourselves. There's been people like from the Athletic, Mario Cantaneghi, who's their Spanish correspondent there for the Athletic. He's also reported after us actually that Arsenal have had talks with Real Madrid and they are willing to sell if indeed Rodrygo wants to go. So all lines are sort of going towards Rodrygo leaving if indeed he wants to leave. And personally looking at it from the outside in, if I'm Rodrygo, look, he's never going to play on the left-hand side because Vinicius Junior plays there, and that's the position he wants to play in. So you don't see where there's going to be a position for him to play in. So look, it's definitely one to keep an eye on. I can't see this one that's going to be happening in the next week to maybe even 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure this would happen something, if at all, towards the end of the transfer window. But at the end of the day, again, it will all boil down to his decision. I think Arsenal are there. I think Arsenal will, have already spoken to Madrid. So, and we've already had reports that he will have talked with Real Madrid next week about his future. That's been put out there in quite a few different places. So, yeah, as I say, all roads are pointing to him possibly, that he really, really could leave. And Arsenal are the ones that, knowingly, since the winter started, they want to strengthen that left-hand side. It's just nearly not as important as a striker, but it's definitely not far behind. And sources are telling me that Arsenal are ready to make Rodrygo as well one of the highest earners at Arsenal, which in turn could be something around about 330,000 euros a week, which would equal what Kai Havertz is on, round about that. But it would be a statement signing. It would be a blockbuster signing. It would be, in my eyes, it would be a needle turner. It was certainly up the levels, and like you said earlier, it could definitely push them over the line. And a little interesting side note that some people might not know is that Paulo Xavier is an Arsenal scout who previously worked for Real Madrid. He's, I'm told, has already had contact with Rodrygo's father and agent, who's Eberechi Eze. Xavi was actually the person who took Rodrygo to Madrid in the first place, and he still has a very strong relationship with his family. His involvement could play a major role from tipping the scales towards Arsenal rather than Liverpool, who, as you've already said, are interested, but only if Luis Diaz leaves. And we've been seeing the links linking him to Bayern Munich, so that's another one we need to keep an eye on. But Arsenal ready to formally start talks, and look, Rodrygo's now back from the Club World Cup, where he's already said his game time was limited, to say the least. So yeah, this is an exciting one for Arsenal fans and Arsenal fans that are watching. There is a big possibility that he could be wearing their red and white shirt come the start of next season.
Yeah, it will be a huge player for Arsenal to sign, a big worldwide name, an exciting prospect, nearly 100 million player. Declan Rice obviously was their last 100 million player for Arsenal, but I don't think he has the same sort of excitement levels on and off the ball as Rodrygo does. No offense to Declan Rice, but everyone knows what I think of Declan Rice. So
we know what you think.
You usually there's offense laden, but maybe not this time.
You and Jackie boy.
Yeah, we're not the biggest fans of people playing for Ireland and then no longer playing for Ireland back in Ireland. Another winger, another attacking player that's been linked to Arsenal is Eberechi Eze. Is he a separate target for Arsenal? Arsenal have already been busy this summer. Is he kind of someone that's going to move for as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should clear this up because a lot of Arsenal fans seem to be getting a little bit nervous about this Madueke, coming in, and now Eberechi Eze is not, which the two don't really relate because they're totally different players. They play in totally different positions, and they're talking about him playing out on the left. He's certainly not a player on the left. I think he's played once for Chelsea last season on the left. So, but we know Madueke's signed now. A lot of fans were scratching their heads about it. But the truth is that it's got nothing to do with Eze. Arsenal want to sign both players. Madueke has always been a concrete option. He became an opportunity that Arteta see, so they just grabbed on it at the last not at the last minute, but he's someone who come available to Arteta, sort of jumped in and thought, let's get him quick. Similar to the Norgard one, it sort of happened in about over 5 days. We heard that Tottenham was talking to him, and then all of a sudden they thought, right, he would be the perfect replacement for Mr. Partey, who's now gone. So yeah, look, as I said, Madueke, Eze, totally different situations. The story where we are with Eze at the moment is that Arsenal made contact with his agents about a week ago, which again we reported. They're still speaking to the player, and that's really good news for the Arsenal fans. And also that even more good news is that Eze wants to move to Arsenal. Eze is very much on. But of course, before anything can happen, Arsenal need to agree payment term with Palace, and that's going to be the tricky part. Palace are tough negotiators. They won't want to let him go easily. They will obviously want to replace him. And there's been a lot of talk about 3 different instalments of payment. I've not heard that. That there's going to be 3 different instalments of payment. That's very unlikely that Crystal Palace would accept anything like that, considering that they would actually need to go and replace a player of that quality. So that didn't add up from day one. But the bottom line is, with Madueke, Eze are totally separate deals. One doesn't cancel the other out. So Arsenal fans need not worry. Arsenal's still pushing for Eze. So for everyone that's worried, don't be. Arsenal have still big plans, and they want to bring Eze in. And we have to wait to see what we hear and what we can pick up from those talks that are going to happen soon with Palace.
Yeah, I think Arsenal have continued the summer of signings. The Zubimendi, Kepa, Norgard, you've mentioned it already come in. And then we could have another attacking player. Christian Mosquera then is we've been hearing about him for the past week, so he's probably the next to come over the line. So I think it's going to be a busy summer for Arsenal. So Arsenal fans should definitely be excited to see how these new players fit in next season and what they can do next season. I think for other people that listen to the podcast, they're probably waiting for us to mention some other club. We've mentioned Liverpool in passing, but some other club. You had news this week that Manchester United have a player that they were linked to last summer. I think Jack Talbot, when he was looking for football transfers last season, he was a player that he was kind of reporting on even last summer of a potential move. So Manchester United would be interested in this player for a while. But I think you're kind of saying that Ruben Amorim is even pushing more so to sign Gonzalo Inacio from Sporting CP, because that's a player maybe that he himself has a relationship with and interest in. So I think that could be an interesting one for Manchester United fans if it does happen. What's the latest happening there?
Gonzalo Inacio. Sources told me last week that Manchester United, is seriously looking at bringing in Ruben Amorim's former player. They're looking at a loan deal. I'm told of, it's going to be they want to buy with an obligation. The fee that they were looking at the paying at the end of the loan would be around about €40 million. This structure would allow Manchester United to bring in Ingial immediately, and then they could spread a financial cross, sort of help them out through the rest of the windows. It'd be a smart move, and given their current financial situation and players such as Blatchford, Anthony, Jadon Sancho, not forgetting Alexander Garnacho, all these still need to be moved on. There's no guarantee that they've gone anywhere yet. So this is a smart deal. They need a defender. I'm hearing from sources that even Lisandro Martinez could be moving on. They are willing to listen to offers of him. Amorim don't really see him fitting into the system, or they would definitely prefer someone like an Ingial rather than a Martinez. So that's definitely one to look out on. Like you said, United have been, monitoring Ingial for quite some time now, but since Amorim's appointment last year, from what I've been told, the interest has really stepped up. Amorim sees Ingial as like the perfect type of player to strengthen his United backline, someone who understands his system and can come out the back, play with confidence, which will be a big advantage for United in this race. Could turn towards more to Manchester United rather than like a Liverpool are also looking for a centre back who we're told are interested because of the previous personal relationship with the player. So the connection could prove decisive, give them a strong edge. But look, there is other interesting clubs in this window. He's a top player. 213 appearances for Sporting. Broke into the first team 2020. He's played a huge role in helping the Portuguese win countless league titles, league cups, which is to be fair, is a testament to his quality of a player. And you can see why someone like Amorim would want him at Manchester United, knowing or what he knows from being his manager before. So he would be a substantially big improvement, in my opinion, on what they've got all at the moment. Look, regarding his contract, we were Sporting that runs until 2027. So Sporting not in any big rush to sell you on the fault, but look, if Amorim pushes hard enough, United, I would have thought, feel confident and the chances of signing the Portuguese international, because, like we've already mentioned, because of that relationship he had when he was manager at the club.
Yeah, I think Man United fans listening to this podcast will be shocked that we have praised Man United for a good bit of business here. It doesn't happen too often, so add this one to the bookmarks. So yeah, another team that you're interested in, you said you kind of wanted throughout Europe, another team that have been linked to Borussia Dortmund, and yeah, that's what I'm hearing from kind of German circles, is that there is interest from Borussia Dortmund, and that's because at the back they have their own defensive problems. They always have defensive problems being Borussia Dortmund, but they're kind of bigger or more obvious than usual because Nico Schlotterbeck isn't back till October. Emre Can has often had to play at centre back. Niklas Sula isn't fully trusted by Niko Kovac, so Julian Ryerson was even playing at centre back rather than at full back during the Club World Cup. So this is a player that Borussia Dortmund also have on their radar, and another player that Borussia Dortmund have on their radar, I know, is Johan Bakayoko. Leverkusen have held talks with him, PSV winger, very exciting. Leverkusen have sold big this window. They're throwing Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, big exits obviously going to Liverpool. So they are looking to become PSV Leverkusen this summer because Malik Tillman is signed for 40 million, and next up it could be Johan Bakayoko. So he's one to keep an eye on for a move to Germany, is what I'm hearing there. And another move that I'm hearing is going to happen, and it came out in Portuguese media in this week, is Joe Hodge, the 22-year-old Ireland midfielder. He's to join CV Tondela, who won the second division in Portugal last season. They obviously want to do something in the Portuguese top division, and I'm hearing that move is going to happen. Not just from Portuguese sources, but from sources on this side of the pond as well. He's going to leave Wolves on a free transfer. He's 2 years left on his contract there, but he hasn't really got too many games. He's only played 6 times in the Premier League for Wolves. He's had a few loans, Huddersfield the most recent, but he is a player that kind of in and around the Ireland camp. He has been the under-21 captain for Ireland. He's got called into the senior squad. He hasn't made his full international debut, but it would be interesting to see another Irish player move abroad, because we've seen some sort of success there with Troy Parrott, especially moving to the Netherlands. And you're going to see more of these Irish players maybe moving kind of abroad, and expect Joe Hodge to secure his Portuguese move sooner than later. That's not just rumour, as far as I'm hearing. That is one that is going to happen. Yeah, we'll move on to the hero and villain of the show, and I will kind of let you pick the hero, as long as as long as our techniques hold up, and the hero maybe is Mark Caulfield, our producer this week, for the heroes he's had to do today. But
special mention.
You can pick a hero from the footballing world.
A hero from the footballing world. I've been thinking about this. It's very difficult to pick a hero in the footballing world this week. Look, I'm going to go for Noni Madueke. I think he deserves a mention this week. He needs some kind words, and if he can be put down as the hero on this show, I'm sure he's watching, and he'll be grateful with it, because there's been a lot of terrible things said about him this week, for me, he deserves to be the hero of the week. He's kept quiet about all the things that have been said about him. He's making a big move. It is a risk. Eyes are going to be off on him. He's probably being looked at the moment as a very brave move. So, because I really can't think of any other big candidates for a hero and a villain this week, apart from Mark, of course, who's been done sterling work this week, especially today. I'm going to go for Noni. I'm going to go for Noni Madueke as the hero of the week, and along with I think a little mention for the Liverpool fans who have all been heroes. And the Liverpool players that have all been heroes this week, from the way and football family, and the way they've acted until the sad passing of Diego Jota. So a little mention as they're all heroes in my eyes this week.
Yeah, I think they'll be probably heroes throughout the season. I think it's going to be a very difficult season for Liverpool. Obviously, it's an impossibly difficult season for their players, for the staff, and the fans. I think the fans he's one of those players that you felt you knew. I think that's what it was. Like some of these footballers, they feel distant from you, but I think Diogo Jota he was a normal guy. He played FIFA or FC. He was great for winding up people at that. And he was a great goal scorer, great finisher, and the tributes that came out about him, he just was a genuinely nice guy. And Mourinho, the tribute that he gave was lovely. He was talking about how after people pass, that you're told that they're a nice guy, and everyone always says nice things, but it was actually true for him. He was a genuine kind of nice guy to on and off the field, and he's a big loss to the football world, and that's why I don't think I can have a proper villain this week. So for the villain of the week, I won't pick anybody too involved in the football world, because there's enough kind of negativity going around, like you said, with Ronan Murphy. I think for the villain of the week, I'm going to pick Duncan Castles as the villain of the week. He's the first time ever on this show, because he's gone on holidays. How dare he?
Disgraceful.
How dare he? And also, I've left this to the very end of the show. So this is kind of a test, like when the professors in universities now, when they put in the code for ChatGPT to catch the cheaters, this is to check whether Duncan has actually watched and listened this week or not, because he'll have to watch and listen to the whole show before he gets mentioned at the end. So yeah, Duncan, this is a test for you. Let us know if you're watching and listening when you're on your holidays. I hope you're not, because you're meant to be on your holidays. So enjoy your holidays and maybe listen when you get back. Fill in our audience survey. Our link is in the comments as always. You can become a member on YouTube. The Football Transfers app is available for download, where you can find out the latest transfer news straight to your phone as they happen, all the done deals, all the rumours, etc. More than just Steve's, what we've had today. But yeah, download the Football Transfers app, and as well as that, you can subscribe to the Football Transfers newsletter. Paul McDonald, our chief editor, or our boss actually, maybe even ahead of up above the chief editor, Paul McDonald has had a interesting newsletter go out this morning on the future of the Saudi Pro League, so that's worth subscribing to and checking out. We'll put links on the Football Transfers social media accounts to that. So thanks very much for your time today, Steve.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you for having me.
Best of luck in the future of the transfer window. I'm sure you'll be busy for the next few weeks.
Yeah, back straight to work after this. So, the heat won't stop me.
Yeah, you say back straight to work as if this isn't work. This isn't just enjoyment, Steve. This is work.
No, this is work. Yeah, people don't get it. They think we sit around.
Only some at a time. Only some at a time. So you've been listening to the Transfers podcast powered by FootballTransfers.com. If you liked what you heard, spread the word. Please follow, share and rate us. You can message us on Instagram, YouTube and Facebook at Transfers Podcast. Our Twitter, Blue Sky and TikTok address is at TransfersCast. I'm on Twitter at SwearNotPaul, on Blue Sky at Ronan Murphy. Steve is at Steve 9KS1TV. Hold on, I'm going to say that again. Steve's Twitter username is at Steve 9K. Oh, I even got it wrong. At Steve K9KS1TV. Steve, can you please get an easier Twitter username?
It's not very user friendly, is it?
No. Every time someone writes an article and has to tag you in it on the exclusive, or puts and pushes one of your articles out, we have to figure out what your username is again. It's a bit difficult, but
that will be changed imminently.
Yeah. But if you want in the next username, maybe put your credit card number, your CVV, and the expiry date. So, as always, our production is by Mark Caulfield, a Pro Podcast production. Thanks for sorting out our technical difficulties today, Mark. And our music is by Mark Caulfield and David L. Stay safe, be well, and thank you for listening.
We did the transfer window. He and McGarry, who left us and wasn't known for a couple of years. Duncan was low. Now he's back with a new show. It's called The Transfers. It's where everyone's gonna go. The Transfers. Gonna go where everyone's gonna go, where everyone's gonna go, where everyone's gonna go, where everyone's gonna go.